Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning into this video in which we will look at mixed numbers and improper fractions. So what do I mean by these? Well, mixed numbers have a whole number part and a fraction part. So 1 1/3 is an example of a mixed number. It has a whole number part and a fraction part. Improper fractions, on the other hand, they have a larger numerator than denominator. That means the number on top is larger than the number on the bottom. So 4/3 is an improper fraction because its top number is larger than its smaller number. So I've divided the number line here between 0 and 2 into thirds. So 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, 4/3, 5/3, and 2, and so on. But this number here is also 1 1/3. 1 1/3 and 4/3 are the same number. Similarly, 1 2/3, 5/3 are exactly the same number. They're equivalent. So every mixed number can be represented as an improper fraction. Every improper fraction we can write as a mixed number. And in different scenarios, one of them may be preferable to use. So just note here that the mixed numbers and improper fractions are to the right of 1. Mixed numbers and improper fractions are always greater than 1. So we're going to look at converting between the two. So let's start with mixed numbers to improper fractions. So we start with a mixed number and we write it as an improper fraction. So how do you do it? Well, the numerator of your new fraction is the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator, and you keep the denominator the same. What does that mean? Well, 3 2/7. We want to write it as an improper fraction. So we want to write it as some number over some number. This number on top will end up being larger. So what goes on top? The numerator is 3 times 7, 21, plus 2 is 23. That's what this line here means. The numerator is whole number times denominator plus numerator. So when you're converting here, you always keep the denominator the same. So it'll be 7 on the bottom. So 3 2/7 and 23/7 are equivalent. They are exactly the same number, just written different ways. So for 2 and 1/8, the numerator is 2 times 8, 16, plus 1 is 17, and we keep the same denominator. So 2 and 1/8 and 17/8 are both the same number. They're both equal to 2.125. Just like up here, they would occupy the same position on the number line. They are equal, just different ways of writing. Let's look at going the other way. How do we go from improper fractions to mixed numbers? Well, we just use division with remainder. What does that mean? Remember the vernaculum, the fraction line means divide. This is saying 37 divides 7. So what we do is we say, how many times does 7 go into 37? Well, it goes 5, remainder 2. The remainder becomes the new numerator, and we keep the same denominator, just as we did up here. Keep the same denominator. So what about 22/9? We're saying, how many times does 9 go into 22? Well, it goes twice, remainder 4. Remainder goes here, keep the same denominator. So 22/9 and 2 4/9, they are the same number, both equal to 2.4 recurring. They're just written in a different way. All right, let's now look at a harder question involving this. So how many integers lie between 22/7 and 70/11? Remember, integers are whole numbers. So I'm saying how many whole numbers are more than this one and less than this one? Well, that's pretty hard to tell in this context. It's actually going to be easier if we convert each of these to mixed numbers. So 22/7. 7 goes into 22 3 times, remainder 1. So 22/7 is 3 1/7. What about 70/11? Well, 11 goes into 76 times. 6 times 11 is 66. There are 4 more needed to get to 70. So it's 6 and 4/11. So how many integers lie between? Well, we have 3 1/7 here on the number line somewhere, and over here 70/11 is 6 and 4/11. So in between them we'd have 6, we'd have 5, and we'd have 4. We have 1, 2, three integers, three whole numbers that lie between these two. So this was an example of a question that was much easier when we had them written as mixed numbers rather than improper fractions. But that's not always the case. For example, we'll see later when we're multiplying and dividing, it's much easier to use improper fractions than mixed numbers. So we have to be really good at converting between the two because, as I said, sometimes it's easier to use improper fractions, sometimes easier to use mixed numbers. All right, thank you so much for tuning into this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.